So for step 14, attaching the steering servo, there's actually a couple of other things we need to do in this step as well. Obviously with the steering servo, we need to now attach it to the chassis with these screws and these washers, but we also have the front body mount that needs to be attached, and we're going to finish off installing those side rails because we never actually attached the back end to the chassis. So I think what I'm going to do this time around is I'm going to attach those first before we put this on, because obviously you're going to have these arms that are going to go through the hole and they may get in the way. So I'm going to do that first, and then I'll put on the body mount, and then we'll put the servo into the chassis. So I've pulled everything out. There's our washers, screws, and of course there's the body mount here. So I'll set it all up and let's put that together. So for this, we obviously just need one of our screws and the washers, and then we're going to screw this into the body. And there's a hole on either side, so we can put this through and fit it into the hole. And then we can screw that in. Now again, one of the things to think about here is that the side rails are a soft plastic. Just remember that, because that's why we have this ability to bend the plastic, and because it's softer, we don't want to strip the hole using these tapping screws. So just be aware that once it gets to the end, you're not going to want to do too much in the way of pulling it too tight, because you'll strip out the hole. So I can feel that that's tight now. So we now have that side on. So we'll do the same again with the other side. So we'll grab a screw, grab one of our washers, stick that through the hole, make sure that goes in. Yes. Actually, I'll do it from this side. It's probably still easier. Now, one of the things to note is before you lock it all in, obviously this can move up and down. So I tend to hold it down once it starts to lock in place so that it doesn't move. There we go. And you can feel like it's going to come to an end, and there's going to be resistance, but you're also going to be able to keep turning that screw because it's going into that softer plastic. So again, do not over tighten, because you're going to find that you'll strip it out and then you don't have these on at all. And you'd end up having to maybe get a bigger tapping screw or something just to try and hold these on. But I'm happy with how that's worked out. So now we're going to grab that screw, the BB1 again, but now we're coming up from the bottom because we need to attach our body mount pin. So put that screw in there, and let's put that on there, and I can hold it from one side or just even from the bottom, I guess. For purposes of this, we'll do that. Nope, I'm gonna have to hold it. And just make sure that it's going in flat, which it is. But I can tell that we're gonna need to hold this differently because this wants to move as I'm screwing it in. But of course, with the box wrench, that's gonna fit over top. So if we go back to this idea again, I'm going to put that on. And now I've got leverage because I can hold it. Okay, now it's on, but note the position. They're wanting to make sure that the pin is going in sideways. So you're going to want to make sure that the hole, and you can see with this one, I've almost got it sideways. It's kind of on an angle this way. Is that I might actually even try to use this to spin it. Yeah, that will work. So you can see where the hole is now. It's not totally perfect yet, so I will turn it some more, and there we go. So now it's in the correct way. So we've got our side rails attached, we've got our body mount pin in place. So now let's put in the servo. And of course you can see that the servo's going to end up attaching here. So if you see how the diagram is, they need to be dropped down into the hole, which we will. And then on the other side, you'll see that the screws, if you can see that, the movement there, that's where the screws are going to fit onto on both sides. So let's, because we need to grab one of these and a washer. See if I can do that without having to, no, okay. So let me grab the washer this way. Put that on, hold that back. Let's see about, let's do this side first. And I just want to get it started to begin with. I can find the hole there. Because I don't want to tighten anything in yet. I do want to make sure it's in enough that it's being held. And then let's grab our other washer. And again, got to find that hole, make sure that it's okay. Actually, let's do it this way. Okay, again, I'm going to tighten it down enough that it's in so that it's not popping out. But what I want to take a look at is you can see that this has the ability, this kind of, the servo itself is moving side to side. There actually is some play in there. I'm not going to worry about it too much because as long as we have it mostly centered, we're going to be able to do some fine tuning beforehand. So you can see that there is a bit of play side to side in those holes. So as a whole, for me, I'm going to more or less try to make this as centered as possible of that hole, because we can do fine tuning once the servo is in place and we've got everything running. So I just want to make sure that that is level. Yes. So we'll screw this side down. And again, remember, you're going into the soft plastic, so definitely tighten this, but don't over tighten because you'll strip out that plastic. But I'm happy with that. So you can see that the servo is locked into place with those 2 bars we did in the previous step. That cable will obviously be out of the way down the line, but that is how it should look. You've got your bumper sidebars in, and there is your servo with the servo arms coming out from behind, which we will attach. I believe we're going to be working on that in the next couple of steps. So we are done now with step 14. So we can move on to step 15, and we're going to install the ESC.